Who are they? Sensing the sudden surge of unfamiliar auras around the outer perimeter of the devouring formation, the two evil kings immediately closed in on each other, their bodies tense with vigilance. Even the endless clouds behind them, which contained the evil armies of the three royal clans, trembled, as if the strange aura held a divine power that instilled fear in them. The Endless Flame Alliance? With the appearance of the unfamiliar aura, Xun'er and the others immediately felt the eerie black threads that had bound them fall away, freeing them in an instant. Everyone quickly looked up toward the source of the strange aura, seeing battle-hardened figures glaring fiercely at the evil figures above the formation. Ridiculous! What are you doing here? Get out of here! The Ghost Realm doesn't need you. As the newcomers arrived at the devouring formation, the Soul Devourer's weak body trembled, and a wave of fury surged within him. The Soul Devourer, who had always balanced severity and kindness, now found his emotions completely changed. Looking at the leading woman in the crowd, his voice choked with emotion. The Ghost Realm was now a lost cause. Why were they walking to their deaths? Didn't they know that it was the three royal clans attacking the Ghost Realm? It was Xiao who sent me. I remember he once said, "A teacher for a day, a father for life." Now, in the face of this catastrophe, although the Endless Flame Alliance is not as powerful as the top forces in the Great Thousand Worlds, we will still do everything we can to protect all the forces under our command from harm. After all, we, the Endless Flame Alliance, are not soft targets to be easily crushed. Mu Yingying's face was serious, her beautiful eyes fixed on the two evil kings hovering in midair, while the others behind her were equally determined. Their collective will created an imposing atmosphere. But, hearing the firm words, the Soul Devourer's aged face showed a mixture of shock and tears. But when he looked at the two royal kings and their evil army, his worries remained. This was not a time for rash decisions. For the victory of the Great Thousand Worlds, and for the Xiao clan, necessary sacrifices were inevitable. Mu Yingying leading the army to support the Ghost Realm was undoubtedly a good move. However, none of the forces she brought had any seven-realm powerhouses. While the six-realm reincarnation experts were formidable, they might not be able to shift this dire situation. SS, where did this girl come from? She looks delicate and beautiful, but I wonder if she's been tempered in battle. At that moment, the Blood Butcher's eyes turned blood red, and the killing intent around him intensified. Let's find out, shall we? Mu Yingying crossed her arms in front of her chest, a faint, ethereal aura swirling around her, exuding the presence of a female war god. Outer Realm Royal Clan. Blood Butcher. The Berserker-type forces have already been unleashed, but this overwhelming combat strength may not last long. Once the power fades, he will inevitably fall into a state of true weakness, and at that point, he will be no different from an ant, powerless and helpless. Behind Mu Yingying, Cold-Blooded General, Whitebone Elder, Mu Feng, and Feng Wanner exchanged glances. The remaining evil king had to be dealt with personally by them. With the strong backing of the Endless Flame Alliance, their strength had surged significantly, nearly reaching the peak of the sixth reincarnation stage. Together, the four of them were confident in confronting a seven-realm evil king. Be careful, this one is one of the four matriarchs of the Endless Fire domain. The women of that domain are not to be underestimated. The king controlling the puppet threads frowned, clearly concerned. Another king who had been traveling with them was now silent. The outcome for him was likely clear. With no seven-realm experts leading them, the ability to eliminate a half-step seven-realm evil king indicated that the combat power of this group should not be underestimated. We don't have much time, but I believe, no matter how powerful she is, she will ultimately fall before my spear. The Blood Butcher sneered, swinging his demonic spear as overwhelming demonic energy howled, creating a scene of apocalyptic despair as he directly clashed with Mu Yingying. The battle between the Sacred Flame's radiance and the demonic spear was intense and evenly matched at first, but as time passed, the surge of power from Mu Yingying's Sacred Flame artifact began to slowly turn the tide in her favor. Gradually, the victory in the Ghost Realm seemed to be shifting toward Mu Yingying and her group of powerful experts. After all, Mu Yingying wielded 5 kinds of sacred flames, the reincarnation seal, divine artifacts, and other powers that had already pushed her combat strength beyond that of a typical six-realm reincarnation expert. Feng Wan'er and Mu Feng's attacks were relentless, their tactics constantly evolving, making victory a matter of time. Even the Ghost Realm has fallen into such a terrifying crisis. The power of the sacred flame slowly began to calm, and the images in the heavenly mechanism realm completely vanished. It was clear that the lower-ranked single sacred flames couldn't provide a full view of the battle's conclusion. Fortunately, several of the mistresses acted decisively and sent powerful members of the Endless Flame Alliance to provide support. Otherwise, this catastrophe would likely have caused widespread panic. The devouring Spirit King's expression was grim as he reflected on the shocking scenes he'd just witnessed. Though the danger had passed, the sense of despair and unease lingered, spreading slowly. In the celestial realm and the monster realm, once the safety of these two forces is confirmed, we must head straight to the reincarnation sea. Xiao Yan's expression was odd. He didn't understand why the flame god's cauldron in his hands was emitting a scorching wave, seemingly urging him to hurry toward the reincarnation sea. He thought back to when he had first tamed the flame god's cauldron, gathering countless sacred flames, which had created a subtle connection between the cauldron and the reincarnation sea. Xiao Yan couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The Book of Reincarnation still hasn't been recovered, and Mistress Xun'er, Mistress Mu Yingying, and Su Shuiying, along with the other inheritors bearing the reincarnation seal, must gather at the reincarnation sea to increase the chances of awakening the powerful beings sleeping within the reincarnation. Noticing Xiao Yan's subtle shift in mood, the devouring Spirit King spoke up. These matters were essential before heading to the reincarnation sea. After all, if the reincarnation seal and the reincarnators could fully complete their reincarnation, the many powerful beings sleeping in the reincarnation sea would become a new force in this world. We can sense each other through the sacred flame. I'll inform them. We don't have much time. Xiao Yan's expression grew more serious. It seemed that the reincarnation sea would be the final battlefield in the Outer Realm's all-out war against the Great Thousand Worlds. While places like the Endless Flame Alliance and the Phoenix Clan at the Palace of the Great Thousand had many strong experts, compared to the reincarnation sea, they were like ants facing giants. The situation was becoming increasingly tense, and Xiao Yan's expression hardened. His sacred flame once again flared up within him, and a vast, divine power surged into the heavenly mechanism realm. The mirror's image shifted, and this time, the celestial realm appeared clearly within it. The celestial realm? Seeing the situation unfold, Xiao Yan's heart gave a slight jolt. The celestial realm was currently under the protection of Lady Chang'ao Moonstream, whose terrifying half-step 8th reincarnation stage power could likely hold off some of the outer realm forces. It's probably because of Moonstream's presence that the outer realms have sent 2 royal clans and 1 sacred clan to attack the celestial realm. According to the latest news, the weakest among the sacred clan's experts has the power of at least half-step 8th reincarnation. The devouring Spirit King and the master of the sword domain exchanged a glance and couldn't help but speak. It was clear that while they were on their way to assist the Phoenix clan, they had met Xun'er and, after some inquiry, became well acquainted with the current situation. The images were eerie. In the celestial realm, 9 majestic heavenly mountains towered above, with ancient trees reaching for the sky and bizarre stones emerging in every direction. Some even appeared as phantasmal illusions floating around the mountains, making it a rare sight to behold. Atop these 9 mountains stood the Moon God Palace, the Flower God Palace, and other great powers of the celestial realm. After the celestial cataclysm and with the help of Yuru in retrieving the divine artifact, the celestial realm's power structure had undergone a dramatic transformation. At this moment, countless humans living beneath the 9 heavenly mountains raised their heads in panic. The once peaceful summit now saw dark, malevolent energy surging, continually attacking and corroding the land. It was as though an extremely evil and deadly aura was gradually devouring the world atop the heavenly mountains, and the sense of desolation and oppression swept down, making all life in the celestial realm feel uneasy. Meanwhile, Yun and the others had arrived at the foot of one of the heavenly mountains, looking up at its endless peak. In the distant sky, a few figures stood, their cold, piercing gazes as chilling as an ancient ice cave, radiating a sense of malevolence. Opposite these dark forces, several lone figures stood side by side. Some with white hair as pure as snow, others with long hair cascading like a waterfall. The breeze gently swept their hair, but their eyes remained emotionless and cold. Mistress, the 9 heavenly mountains seem to be under a powerful restraint. It will be difficult to break through this barrier with normal methods. One of Yun's elite followers spoke up. 2 royal clans, 1 sacred clan. After finishing her words, Yun's soft and beautiful eyes suddenly filled with endless murderous intent. Energy petals swirled around her, exuding a terrifying aura that made one's mind uneasy. Leading her subordinates to assist the celestial realm, Yun had already reached the 7th reincarnation stage, her power and combat abilities having reached an unprecedented level thanks to numerous methods she had mastered. Because of this, she did not bring many elites, only 1 person at the 5th reincarnation stage and a few lower-ranked guards. Atop the heavenly mountains, a massacre of tragic proportions was unfolding. In the most mysterious and forbidden region of the celestial realm, the heavenly mountains. This was a forsaken land abandoned by the immortal realm, barren and desolate. It was said that no one could leave this place alive, because this was a forbidden zone, a place of death. Living beings with flesh and blood could not survive here. Once they stayed too long, even those at the 7th reincarnation stage would be completely consumed. Even the powerful experts of the celestial realm could not withstand the corrosive influence of this forbidden land and had to avoid it at all costs. Yushi, tell me everything you know about the path to the divine mansion. Otherwise, all the lives you've protected will not escape the punishment of this forbidden land. Within the forbidden land, dark strands of energy twisted like ropes, binding the bodies of many beautiful women in place. Outside the forbidden zone, 2 evil men sneered coldly. Realm Lord, you must not do this. The Azura King shouted angrily, even as the black ropes around him continued to drain his life. His pupils showed no sign of fear. He would either perish with the celestial realm or endure. Master! Beside him, Yuru gritted her silver teeth. Her moon god sword hummed in response, but no matter how she tried to communicate with her moon godmark, it failed to give a clear answer. It seemed like something was missing. Nearby, Yao Qi Shengmu, Yao Ling, Yao Wuchen, and the others were all furious, ready for any act of righteousness. At the moment of hesitation, the air trembled once again as another woman and several strong presences appeared. The woman leading the group had bright eyes and a beautiful smile, with a slender neck and a figure that seemed to have emerged from the lotus pond, beautiful and otherworldly. She wore white, her steps like those of a lotus floating in the air, her movements graceful and ethereal, like a celestial beauty from a painting, captivating and unforgettable. Yun. Seeing this sudden appearance, Yuru's heart skipped a beat. However, upon seeing her now, whether in strength or appearance, Yun had undergone a drastic change. Even as she stared into Yun's eyes, the moon godmark within her stirred faintly. One of the 4 mistresses of the boundless fire domain. Yun. At that moment, the powerful figures at the edge of the forbidden land narrowed their eyes and became more vigilant. Yun and Kailin were likely the most unpredictable among the 4 mistresses, and their power was no less than the 7th reincarnation stage, a force to be reckoned with. Holy Spirit King, what do you think? Instantly, 2 figures looked at the desolate land of the forbidden zone, their voices humble as they spoke. Hee. Finally, someone worth watching? With the sound of the 2 evil kings' voices, a strange sound emerged from the desolate land, and a tremendous black energy surged up. It soon took shape and transformed into a human form. This, too, was a woman, her figure graceful and incomparable, but filled with a chilling, murderous intent. Even Yun felt a greater pressure in her presence. The young woman radiated an aura of death. As soon as she appeared, it was as if she commanded the entire world, walking calmly toward Yun. Her approach was like a towering mountain descending to crush her. A Saint Clan expert? Faced with this difficult situation, Yun's heart tensed. There were only a few saint clans in the outer realms, and this woman, though possibly ranked near the bottom, was a genuine powerhouse at the 8th reincarnation stage. A threat that demanded her full attention. Has she gained control of that power from the flower spirits? Though many in the celestial realm had heard of Yun's impressive feats after the battle in the boundless fire domain, seeing it firsthand still shocked them. At this moment, the one trapped within the forbidden land, Lady Xun'er, Yushi, was also moved by the sight. Yun had the flower god's mark, but why had Yuru received the moon god mark? The previously hopeless situation began to turn around with the arrival of Yun and the others. Tear. Yun's expression turned cold as she grasped the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword in her jade-like hand. With a light swing, a sword beam imbued with a sacred aura flashed through the air, leaving behind a terrifying presence that could not be erased. In an instant, many high-ranking figures from the celestial realm regained their freedom, though the power within their bodies was still somewhat unstable. Clearly, a significant portion of their strength had been devoured by the power of the Forbidden Land. Moreover, it seemed that a fierce battle had already erupted here earlier, leaving them trapped by the enemy. Some Saint-level 8-pin pills can temporarily restore 50% of your reincarnation power. Senior Yushi, what exactly is going on with the current situation? Having finished all the tasks, Yun remained vigilant, observing the movements of the Holy Spirit King and the two evil kings in the distance. She then turned to Yushi to inquire. With Yushi's strength at half-step 8th reincarnation stage, coupled with the power of numerous high-level celestial realm experts, they certainly should not have fallen so easily into the hands of the enemy. There must be some unknown secret behind this. Thank you. The high-ranking figures gratefully took the pills from Yun and immediately began to close their eyes to recover. They knew a fierce battle awaited them. Boom! With the arrival of Yun's reinforcements, the celestial army, stationed in the rear, noticed the disturbance from the Forbidden Land and began to move in unison, heading straight toward the site. During the earlier battle, no residual shockwaves were left from the confrontation, as the high-ranking celestial realm experts had been secretly captured and trapped by the two royal clans and the Saint clan. The Celestial Realm Alliance in the rear remained unaware of the situation. The massive celestial army was made up of countless soldiers, their combined presence creating imposing waves of energy that caused the hearts of many to waver slightly. As the army advanced, Yun, Lady Xun'er, and Yuru stood outside the Forbidden Land, their faces grim as they gazed at the three evil kings and the endless evil army swirling within the black hole behind them. Strangely, the Holy Spirit King had just emerged from the Forbidden Land, but returned immediately to the side of the two evil kings. It seemed that she had no fear of Yun's arrival or the large reinforcements behind her. Her power had already reached the 8th reincarnation stage, and facing creatures who hadn't even reached the 7th reincarnation stage was laughable to her. Sacred Flame, the divine artifact, and the two spirits of divine weapons, which had been dormant in the divine sword, were gathered around Yun, who then turned to Lady Xun'er and Yuru, asking for their thoughts. The two artifact spirits accompanying them on this journey were now at the peak of the 6th reincarnation stage, and together, they were more than enough to contend with a 7th reincarnation stage expert. Yuru and Lady Xun'er exchanged glances. After getting a confirming nod from Yushi, they relayed the events that had just unfolded. During the cataclysm, the celestial realm had prepared in advance, but the three powerful figures had secretly infiltrated the palace. Under their combined strength, the celestial realm's defenses were practically useless. A few days ago, the three of them had snuck in, instantly binding the high-ranking celestial experts. After controlling the entire leadership, the Holy Spirit King gave no orders for execution. Instead, she entered the Forbidden Land alone, likely to seek the ultimate path. Did the three kings easily defeat you? The celestial army suffered no casualties, which is a small blessing in an otherwise grim situation. Hearing this, Yun sighed with relief. Fortunately, the celestial realm hadn't taken much damage. Otherwise, she would have been unable to stay calm, as in a way, this was also her home. If both armies go to war, it will inevitably lead to a chaotic slaughter of innocent lives. That would be rather dull, Wouldn't you agree? How about we raise the stakes a bit? After a moment, seeing the fierce, fiery eyes of the celestial army and their allies, the Holy Spirit King looked lazily at them, as if completely unafraid. What stakes do you propose? Yun, Yushi, and the others exchanged glances before speaking in unison, their voices steady. Once the two sides fully engaged in battle, the celestial realm would inevitably suffer some losses. Since the Holy Spirit King had brought it up, they were open to the idea. You have only one chance. If you can kill me before this object takes form, this world will be spared. Otherwise, even if you self-destruct, you won't be able to protect this world. After all, this power surpasses semi-god techniques and is nearly as terrifying as quasi-god techniques. The Holy Spirit King smiled wickedly as she gazed down at them, her voice dripping with a mysterious, unsettling intent. As her words finished, she slowly raised her hand. A delicate, small black plant emerged. The black plant, about the size of an arm, pulsed with a thick, dark aura. At its core, a black seed, resembling a bud, trembled slightly, releasing a terrifying energy that caused the very heavens and earth to shudder. As the sinister black plant appeared, the celestial high-ranking figures felt a chill run down their spines. After careful sensing, it became clear that the Holy Spirit King had spoken the truth. If this terrifying object fully formed, the celestial realm would likely face a catastrophic situation. Leave the two evil kings to us. Although our current strength is greatly diminished, with the help of the pills, we should be able to hold them off temporarily. However, the Holy Spirit King's power is not only formidable, her abilities are rather unusual. During our previous battle, we couldn't even detect her attack methods, and we were completely caught off guard. As soon as the words fell, with the endless reinforcements from the boundless fire domain joining the battle, led by Yushi, they completely clashed with the two evil kings. The situation quickly became a stalemate. Meanwhile, the Holy Spirit King and Yun were suspended mid-air, seemingly waiting for something. Yun was waiting for the Holy Spirit King to make a move, so that she could seize the opportunity to eliminate the evil plant in the brief moment when the two were engaged. The Holy Spirit King was also waiting. Her objective was, of course, the Flower God's mark and the Moon God mark on Yuru and Yun. Although they hadn't discovered a way to ascend to Do Shun within the forbidden area, her instincts told her that as long as she obtained these two marks, she would be able to pursue the path to becoming a Do Shun. After all, ruling over a small celestial realm was nothing compared to finding the way to become a Do Shun, stepping into the supreme realm of Do Shun and dominating the heavens. The latter was far more tempting. Attack. After a moment of stalemate, a sharp arc curled at the corner of Yun's lips. Divine flames and reincarnation power surged around her. No matter how strong the opponent was, this battle was unavoidable. Humph! Faced with Yun's sharp attack, the Holy Spirit King let out a mocking laugh. The two powerful fighters clashed fiercely, causing the entire world to descend into chaos, with searing energy exploding everywhere. Boom! The battle between the two was especially intense, with Yun and the Holy Spirit King engaged in an even fiercer contest. The Holy Spirit King's body was incredibly flexible, and her speed was astonishing. No matter how terrifying Yun's attacks were, the Holy Spirit King easily twisted her waist to evade them. The battle between the two reached a deadlock. Meanwhile, the black plant in the Holy Spirit King's hand slowly slipped from her grasp, hovering in midair, emitting waves of black aura like a greedy evil being, continually devouring the energy of the heavens and earth, filling itself with power. A chilling and terrifying sensation began to spread across the world, creating a solemn atmosphere. Above the plant, the black seed pulsed like an evil heart, growing larger with each beat. We can't go on like this. After a round of exchanges, Yun realized that the Holy Spirit King was intentionally stalling for time. She let out a soft snort. In an instant, the two little creatures, Heavenly Dragon and Earthly Phoenix, shook their bodies and transformed into two dazzling beams of light, rushing into the body of the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword. The piercing sound of dragon roars and phoenix cries echoed throughout the world as Yun raised the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword high above her head. Her lips murmured an ancient and powerful incantation, channeling the sword's ancient power. The flower god's mark began to stir, and pure white flowers appeared around Yun, enveloping her like a beautiful flower spirit. In the next moment, countless energy flowers poured into the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, their white flames gently attaching to the blade. Taiji Heavenly Emperor, a cold, emotionless voice accompanied a sword shadow that descended from the heavens. In an instant, the entire world trembled. The sound of cracking was deafening. Thud, thud. Feeling the full force of Yun's strongest strike, the many high-ranking celestial realm officials caught in the struggle shivered. What kind of overwhelming destructive power was this? Its might seemed to surpass even the realm of semi-god techniques, possibly even more powerful. Holy Spirit King! The two evil kings and the surrounding evil army couldn't help but shout at the sky as they saw the vast and holy sword shadow descending. Truly strong. Facing such a terrifying attack, the Holy Spirit King sneered slightly before crushing the incomplete black seed in her hand. Crack! The black seed shattered, sending out a terrifying shockwave that rippled through the heavens. The earth trembled, and the once smooth ground collapsed like falling rocks. Amidst the crumbling earth, a desolate black aura emerged, sweeping across everything in its path. Anyone caught by it let out agonizing screams. There was no time for any struggle or resistance before they were obliterated, their bodies and souls destroyed. At that moment, the entire world was enveloped in this desolate black aura, and even Yun's most powerful attack, which she had carefully prepared, froze midair, as if temporarily losing its target and coming to a halt. Yun's attack was indeed powerful, but now she only had one strike left. If this strike failed to completely destroy the Holy Spirit King, their fate would still be sealed. I'll assist you. Suddenly, Lady Chang'e, Moonstream, soared into the sky, positioning herself in opposition to Yun. Her gaze scanned the cracked earth, searching for the true body of the Holy Spirit King. Retreat the army. Though they had no idea how to defend against this mysterious power, Yuru and the others could only focus their attention on Yun and Yushi for now. The entire void of the celestial realm was filled with an overwhelming, intense scent of gunpowder, signaling that the battle was about to ignite. Bang, bang, bang. With a single strike, Yun and Yushi were forced back, their faces serious with tension. It seemed that no matter how powerful their attacks were, they were all completely obliterated within the desolate black energy. Moreover, the most critical part was that after crushing the black seed, the presence and figure of the Holy Spirit King completely vanished from their senses. It was as if the Holy Spirit King was the desolate black energy, and the desolate black energy was her. But despite the countless streams of this desolate black energy emerging from the cracked ground, Yun and Yushi's attacks were unable to completely annihilate and purify all of it. Wait, she's not the desolate black energy. She's hiding inside it. The divine sword swung again, and a harsh humming sound rang through the heavens and earth as an immense wave of energy surged outward. Yun faintly heard weak sounds from within the space where the two forces collided. Radiance of the Moon God. Taiji Heavenly Emperor's Sword. Two cold voices rang out again, carrying an ancient and vast aura that swept through the heavens and earth, converging toward the black energy beneath the cracks. Boom, boom, boom. The two attacks were ferocious, and with the two's deliberate control, they struck at some of the most eerie parts of the black energy. The intensity of the strikes was truly astonishing. Crack. The two attacks seemed to strike something rigid, and the sound of bones shattering echoed out. How did you find my true form? At this moment, heavily injured, an expression of disbelief appeared on the cold, beautiful face of the Holy Spirit King. Blood uncontrollably gushed out, and the vitality within her body was completely extinguished under their combined assault. Holy Spirit King. The two evil kings and the evil army behind her watched in shock as the Holy Spirit King fell into this dire situation. They immediately broke free from the encirclement of other powerful beings and rushed to her position. Rip. Let's go. Dark clouds surged up from the heavens and earth, and the enemy's army fled the scene. Though the price was the lives of almost the entire evil army and the two evil kings. It seemed that the so-called Holy Spirit King had ambitions beyond just attempting to rule the celestial realm. Unfortunately, she had always underestimated Yun and the others' unyielding determination to protect the celestial realm. As a result, the evil coalition's invasion of the celestial realm had been a catastrophic failure. The celestial realm's calamity came to an end like this, and from this moment onward, despite the severe damage the celestial realm had suffered, it would rise once more, especially with the help of the Endless Flame Alliance's medicinal resources, which made their growth speed astonishing. The celestial realm. It seems this Holy Clan expert has escaped. Looking at the scene in the heavenly mechanism realm, Xiao thoughtfully nodded. It seemed that the so-called Holy Clan experts all wielded demigod-level combat techniques and possibly even more terrifying abilities. Though she escaped, she was severely wounded in the process. The next time we meet, she'll be easily slain. The Devouring Spirit King chuckled as the forces of the Endless Flame Alliance scored consecutive victories, much to their delight. The Monster Realm. It's probably the most crucial in this calamity. Let's hope nothing goes wrong. The Master of the Sword Domain nodded in agreement, but still had many concerns in his heart. The Monster Realm. King of Beasts, the Demon Emperor, and the mighty Xiao. Xiao slowly nodded, his face filled with a solemn expression. Clearly, this realm was the most worrisome at the moment. As the celestial realm's calamity gradually came to a close, Xiao secretly contacted the many inheritors of the Endless Flame Alliance through the Sacred Flame. Once he confirmed the safety of the Monster Realm, he would likely need to hurry to the Reincarnation Sea. The scene in the Heavenly Mechanism Realm slowly shifted, and it eventually reached the last territory under the Endless Flame Alliance's control. The Monster Realm. Throughout history, the Monster Realm had always been shrouded in endless mystery. After all, this was a place where countless beings from the great thousand worlds devoted their entire lives to cultivation, hoping to ascend. Only by entering the Monster Realm could one escape the conflicts of the human world. While the Monster Realm also respected strength above all else, this did not diminish its revered status among countless beings. The vast expanse of the Monster Realm continued to uphold the unbreakable rule of valuing power, but this rule applied only to conflicts between Monster Realm beings. If external forces like those from the Outer Realms intervened, it could provoke intense resistance from the entire realm. At the center of the Monster Realm, the place that had once been a peaceful and harmonious location where many beasts aspired to go, was now in complete ruin. Beast corpses and bloodstains were scattered across the many temples, adding a thick layer of sorrowful atmosphere, making the entire space feel abnormally tragic. Although the forces sent from the Outer Realms to attack the Monster Realm were vast, the Monster Realm itself was not to be underestimated. In just a few days after the battle erupted, many powerful figures from the core of the Monster Realm rose up to resist. A fierce battle broke out between the two sides, unlike anything seen before. The Outer Realm Alliance, which initially thought victory was certain, was forced to change tactics after facing such desperate resistance from the Monster Realm. They aimed to seize the heart of the Monster Realm and kill the leaders in a bid to shock the monster beasts and complete their mission of devouring the realm. During these few days of conflict, the Monster Realm's beasts fought with reckless abandon. Even when they were outmatched, they would take a few of the enemy's stronger evil experts down with them, causing the losses on the side of the four evil clans to be even greater than those of the Monster Realm's beasts. The Tomb of the Beasts. This ancient land in the Monster Realm was renowned throughout the realm, revered by countless beasts as a sacred place. The main reason for its importance was that within these tombs lay the remains and legacies of past Monster Realm overlords. The vast graveyard of mountains stretched far and wide, surrounded by mysterious and ancient seals, making it the highest holy ground at the very heart of the Monster Realm. Where there had once been deathly silence, the Tomb of the Beasts now buzzed with activity. Numerous figures gathered from all directions, their gazes filled with fury as they stared at the core tombs of this land. In the depths of the core tomb, several terrifying auras erupted, shaking the very heavens and earth. Even the slightest sense of these presences made one's mind feel dizzy and detached. At this moment, some familiar figures slowly arrived at the scene. Lord Kailin, in order to prevent the Outer Realm army from completely annihilating the core experts of the Monster Realm, the Realm Lord and others took a great risk, using their strength to lure the enemy into the Tomb of the Beasts, said one figure, standing at the entrance of the Tomb of the Beasts, looking at the shadowy tombs that seemed to have existed since ancient times. Among the group, the nine-tailed fox Qingwan and the black fiend dragon wolf both wore solemn expressions and spoke up. Now, the Monster Realm Center was without the Realm Lord and others. Although the battle had stabilized, the Monster Beast army was in disarray. In the midst of the crisis, fortunately, Kailin and the Endless Flame Alliance arrived just in time to turn the tide and save the situation. The royal leader left behind to attack the Monster Realm Center has already fallen to my hands. That means there should still be one royal expert and two holy experts left. With the strength of Realm Lord Xian Yi and Deputy Realm Lord Demon Emperor at the 8th reincarnation stage, the power of those two holy experts shouldn't make them so cautious. Kai Lin's eyes flashed with a cold gleam as she gazed far ahead, yet the auras from the core of the Tomb of the Beasts could not be detected. It was as though some powerful force within the tombs blocked her senses. Last I saw, the remaining three evil experts pursued the Realm Lord and others into the Tomb of the Beasts. The black fiend dragon wolf spoke again, his voice filled with impatience. This area is strange. Dragonblood Martial Emperor, you lead our reinforcements and the Monster Realm's experts to guard this place, surrounding and eliminating the remaining evil alliance. Without the leadership of the royal experts, this evil alliance will be easy to defeat. None shall enter the Tomb of the Beasts without my command. Those who defy me will be killed without mercy. Kailin's cold voice resonated in the minds of the experts behind her. The massive pressure from the tin-colored heaven, swallowing python forced everyone to halt in place. Kailin harbored concerns. Even with her half-step 8th reincarnation stage strength, the situation was tricky. With her current entourage of experts, none even at the 7th reincarnation stage, entering the tomb would only lead to their destruction. Understood. As soon as the words were spoken, the group set to work, jointly forming majestic formations outside the tomb, continuously attacking the invading evil alliance. The scene within the Tomb of the Beasts was magnificent and dramatic. Masters, the monster beasts of the Monster Realm are different from humans, and with the support of the Endless Fire Domain's experts, our losses have been severe. If this continues, our alliance will be completely defeated here. Not far from the Tomb of the Beasts, on a towering land, several evil figures stood with grim expressions, anxiously watching as the evil alliance forces dwindled below. Once, the four kings led the evil alliance to crush the powerful beasts of the Monster Realm with overwhelming superiority. But after hearing some strange words from the Monster Realm's Realm Lord and Deputy Realm Lord, the remaining three kings ignored the current battle situation and directly followed the others into the Tomb of the Beasts. It seemed the Monster Realm's leaders had thrown out an irresistible bait. Now, the evil alliance was left with only one king leading the invasion of the Monster Realm, while the remaining royal leader and two holy experts followed to chase them down. Now, we can only hope the masters will quickly eliminate the Monster Realm's Realm Lord. Amid the shadows, there was no choice but to proceed with this plan. But if we keep consuming like this, the foundations of the two royal clans and the two sacred clans will likely be exhausted here. At all costs, we must maintain our current offensive. Despite many lingering doubts, with the Monster Realm Alliance rising in fierce resistance, the remaining evil powerhouses had no choice but to resort to this desperate strategy. Kill them. A storm of blood-curdling roars and murderous intent erupted, and across the entire center of the Monster Realm, scenes of life-and-death battles unfolded. Yet, despite the overwhelming number of evil allied forces pouring out from the black hole vortex, not a single one of the many demon beasts in the center of the Monster Realm showed any signs of retreat. To step back would be to lose the very homeland they relied on for survival.